Hey, howdy, and welcome all to the Big and Bright Podcast. My name is Nick. This here next to me is Invasion of the Body Snatchers, James.
Howdy, it's me.
I'm not so sure it is.
Oh, yeah.
You don't dress like that, man.
Well, you know, when your parole officer tells you to dress up, you dress up.
I'm waiting for your Saw Doctors t-shirt to be like this is like a breakaway suit, and you're going to reveal that you're in a Hawaiian shirt underneath.
Sorry, not
This
today.
might be the first time in the history of this podcast that you've been dressed better than me. Right? Well, and it's not even by much.
Maybe, but I always had better hair. Still do.
Not true. Not true now.
Ginger. So.
Not true ever. Yeah, ginger is not real hair. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. We all know it, right? Ginger is basically yarn.
I got a whole army of people that would disagree with you.
Well, we're back, friends. I know that you guys had to tolerate just James last week.
Tolerate, enjoy.
I have returned, so your pain has been eased. Really excited to get a lot of stuff to talk about today. I know that this is a Texas podcast, but we are going to talk about the State of the Union.
You got to. It involves us.
Yeah, you got to. We're also going to talk about some other global affairs. This might be the most broad topic that we're a local podcast that's going to talk about both national and global issues today.
Nick and I kind of quibbled about it, but we kind of have to because it does involve us because possible war and stuff like that.
Yeah, war would definitely involve us.
Getting poorer, whatever.
That's very true, right? And one way that you can help prevent the war in Ukraine is to like and subscribe to this podcast.
Sure. Subscribe, ring the bell, text your friends that hate conservatives, text your friends that love conservatives.
Which is just as true as just about everything else that's been said about the war in Ukraine. Yeah. There's a lot. It's all very confusing.
A lot of propaganda about both sides, but that's what happens in war, and we have social media now in a war.
That being said, what does this have to do with Texas? We'll go ahead and start. Let's start talking about Ukraine. We might as well. We've kind of rolled into it. What does this have to do with Texas, right? What can Texas do? Should Texas do anything? I mean, I think this is all kind of tied into whether the United States should do anything, right?
Maybe.
And specifically what the United States should do. Should Texas do something independently? I mean, there's a lot of
I mean, from a state perspective, you really can't do much because you're not the federal government. Mm-hmm. But I know early this week, can't remember, Abbott did tweet out that, I think it was last week anyways, he tweeted out to restaurant owners and the restaurant group, forget the actual name of it, but it was like a restaurant organization. Pretty much all the restaurants are a part of like this little club or business organization. And he encouraged them to stop buying, stop selling, Russian stuff like, like food, vodka, obviously. Mm-hmm. I've actually seen quite a few countries like people like at their bars they're just pouring out all the Russian vodka. It's like, yes, I know I paid for this originally, but I'm not going to have the chance to. I'm not going to sell it. I'm not going to restock. I'm not going to do anything as this goes on. That's kind of from a state perspective we can do. I mean, they do have. I know Zelensky is that how you pronounce it? Zelensky.
Although his name is not. A lot of people think his name is Vladimir Zelensky. His name is actually Volodymyr Zelensky. It's spelled with like an O or something.
Yeah, almost like Voltaire.
Yeah, almost like Voltaire. Except he's not French.
Yeah, well, that's good for him. Anyways, what was I gonna say about that?
You were talking about the.
He also tweeted out, and I think some of their federal officials also tweeted out ways to give to him through Bitcoin and Coinbase and stuff like that. So if you have some Bitcoin or Ethereum, you want to throw it their way. Go for it.
Yeah. Two ways that we can deal with, I think Texas specifically can deal with the Russia issue, right? And how it actually pertains to Texas when it comes to sanctions. Right?
Tweet about it.
No.
Oh.
What is the number one commodity of the Russian economy?
Oil.
No, it's vodka. Oh. And here's the thing. How are we going to...
McCain did say at one point... Russia is what was it, a gas station with a country?
Basically, yeah, a gas station with a country attached to it. But here's the thing. When you're talking about Russian vodka, right, you're going to not buy Russian vodka anymore. Gotta come up with some sort of supplement, right?
Tito's.
What should we do? Yeah, we should buy Tito's.
Tito's vodka.
Right here in Texas.
The one good thing out of Austin.
Exactly, right. Made right here in the great state of Texas.
Microbrewed, by the way.
Exactly.
One of the first microbreweries.
We should start macro brewing Tito's and tell Vladimir to
just ship it over to him. It's like, hey, you mean you talking about Putin?
Yeah, Vladimir Putin or Volodymyr. Yeah, you could send it over to Zelensky.
Here's some good stuff. It's like it's not as good as Russia. Shut up, bro. It's free.
Davai Titos.
No. But oil. Great. A lot of oil there.
Yes, a lot of oil. A lot of oil there.
And with all the sanctions that Biden's done, which he talked about last night.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, for us, it's March 2nd, Texas Independence Day, by the way,
Amen.
1836. But last night, during the State of the Union, he said we had a lot of economic sanctions. Some of them are kind of working. Found stuff from NPR even saying it was not working so well. So that we've been doing it since 2014.
Okay,
by the way.
cutting off the central Russian bank from U.S. dollar-based transactions is a big deal. That crashes the.
But then how are they getting more money?
Well, they're still I know what you're saying. But we're still buying their oil.
Oh, yeah.
Stop buying their oil.
Well, no, it's funny. All of Europe went super woke, super green, said, yeah, we don't do that, yet 70% of their oil came from Russia. It's like, how long is that sanction going to stay in effect?
Yeah.
It's going to get cold. It's going to get hot. Something's going to happen. You're going to need it.
Really tough. But here's the thing. Another way that Texas can deal with sanctions. Another way that Texas can do it. Drill, baby, drill. We got a lot of oil right here in the Lone Star State. We got a lot of oil refineries, and they are ready to go. So, Joe Biden, I know you're not going to do this because you're a turd, but you should make sure that we're getting back to oil energy independence, which is, by the way, what we had under Orange Man. Right, we were completely energy independent. Why? We had the Keystone Pipeline. That was active. Texas and the oil refineries here in Texas were in absolute overdrive during that period. If we could do that, if Texas can start generating some of the energy that the United States needs, then two things would happen. One, we would no longer be dependent on Russian oil. We'd be isolating Vladimir Putin economically almost entirely. We could start imposing those sanctions. And the United States is the number one consumer of oil in the world, and it's not particularly close. Two, gas prices would go down, which I don't know if you know this, but Texas, we've always kind of enjoyed this sort of buffer. Yeah. Right? Texas gas prices, they get high, but they never get as high as they get around the rest of the country. Yeah. Texas is at $3.50 a gallon.
At least where we're at,
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That is insane.
That's true. Biden just needs to accept his inner Sarah Palin and drill, baby, drill.
Let's do it.
But no, it's interesting. My wife asked me, she goes, do you remember when it was this high certain times? Because I don't really recall, because she's from South Texas and she's also kind of we're close to oil refineries down there. And I was like, actually, yeah, when I was a kid, I remember being 380 something. And she goes, when you were a kid? I was like, yeah, that was when the whole, Iraq, Afghanistan kind of happened. And then she was like, was ever that high under Obama? And I was like, it was pretty dang high under Obama.
It got high. It never got 350. I mean,
with Obama? Yeah, maybe not.
I don't recall. I mean, I don't actually recall. I think at one point it broke $3 during the Obama administration, and people lost their ever-loving minds.
Yeah, they didn't blame him, though. So.
Yeah, and now it's $3.50, and people are like, well,
Well, it's funny.
Ukraine, the cost of patriotism,
Jen
cost of spreading freedom.
decided to do a little spin move, which I was like, that's not you're not doing very good. She was asked about the gas prices. She goes, well, the good thing is it's encouraging people to realize that maybe they need electric cars. I was like, have you ever lived in a real America? No. Ever? Like, you ever been outside the DC bubble? Regular people can't afford these electric cars.
Elon Musk is over there going, yeah.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And Biden said one of the initiatives to put over, I think 7,000 or something like that. No, I'm sorry, 500,000 charging stations. This is in the State of the Union. Charging stations across America. I was like, all right, good. Rich white liberals have places to put their cars.
Yeah.
Also, quite expensive. About each one of them about $100,000. Unless you go to the lower one, which takes about hours to actually charge your car, it's about $6,000. So, all right, I charge it 15 minutes. You got 2 more miles.
Yeah.
Good luck.
That's the thing, is that what Jen Psaki is saying is that she's making it hurt economically in order to incentivize behavior.
Yeah.
You know what that's called?
Tyranny.
A sanction.
Oh, tyranny.
You're sanctioning your own people.
Yeah.
You're
she's never going to deal with it. Doesn't matter.
Sanctions and economic impositions and burdens in order to modify your people's behavior.
Yeah,
that is tyranny. That's absolutely tyranny.
A little tyranny. But I did see something interesting from the Houston Chronicle, though.
Sure.
There's a Ukrainian policeman. He actually trained in, I believe it was, was it San Antonio? I can't remember where he actually trained, but he actually trained here in America, and then he went back because they were just kind of doing little trainings a few years ago. Mm-hmm. Well, they have a Don't Mess with Texas patch. He put that on. He's like, I'm going to go fight these Russians with this patch on. And I was like, Texas is putting the fight. Here we go.
Let's do it. Yeah.
But,
There was a story, this is kind of a tangent, but there was a, in Germany, there's a little town on the border of Germany, and France. Town's called Bad Bergsoverein. Just outside of that town, there's a little archway, and you're driving from France to Germany, and there's a little archway that says "Welcome to Germany." It's made out of stone. Well, in World War II, when they got to that particular point, right, the French-German border, obviously when you get there in World War II, you're not just going to be like, all right, let's just keep on going. Yeah. So they camped out there for a little bit, right? They were, I don't know exactly what they were doing, probably resupplying, stuff like that, but they were there for a couple of days. Well, anyway, there was a soldier who was from Mineral Wells, Texas, and he sat there with his knife, and in the stone on this archway, he carved a map of Texas and put like a little star where Mineral Wells was.
Nice.
So today, if you go to France, you will see on this stone archway in France a map of Texas, because wherever liberation is happening, Texans are there.
Yeah.
Right.
The only downside of that is you have to go to France.
You do have to go to France.
Stinky.
Right? Well, it just depends on what part of Nice is quite nice. Actually.
Yeah.
The fact here is, yeah, you got a lot of Texans that are going through, there's the Texas spirit has always been kind of a spirit of independence, and I think we're seeing that in Ukraine. The war in Ukraine is a tragedy, but I have to say, what about the transgender people in Ukraine, James?
Oh no, yeah, I saw that. That one dude.
One guy was
sorry,
I can't leave.
Female now because he said so.
Because they're saying I'm a man.
Despite the 5 o'clock shadow going on.
I would say this. I would be like, if I was Zelensky, I'd be like, okay, all men of fighting age or women of fighting age who are super buff and have Adam's apples, y'all got to stay.
Yeah.
I don't care what I call you, but you got to stay. You got to fight.
Well, they got some women and children now. I was like, why didn't you go?
First of all, I don't believe that story's true. I'm going to go ahead and say right now that.
I think it's just propaganda.
Because, I really think that is propaganda. I think that person probably is not in Ukraine anymore, and they're just telling a sob story.
Yeah,
because
it's easy to find dilapidated places all around Europe. It mostly is.
You got to imagine, right? So they're stopped at the border, and this person, and if you've seen the video, this person.
We're not going to post it. No, it's dumb.
This person clearly does not look like a man, right? And
you mean a woman?
It doesn't look like a woman, right? Also doesn't look like a man. Well, no, that's what I mean. Is that he doesn't look like a man, right?
Fair.
He's clearly trying to be a woman. You think that person got stopped and they went, yeah, we need this guy fighting for us? I'm sorry. I think they'll be like, you know what? We can afford to not have you here with us. I think they let him go. But that's the kind of craziness that's happening. But unless you think that it's just Ukraine, Texas is now under fire about transgender issues as well. We have a situation where Greg Abbott said true things and people are mad.
No.
Yeah. Greg Abbott said things that are correct and people got really upset. It's shocking to me how being blatantly truthful is now offensive. But Abbott did.
Welcome to our world.
Abbott basically, is he encouraging or is he passed the legislation?
There is no.
Is
this legislation tried to go through this past session rally.
Mm-hmm.
It did not pass. It passed in the Senate, did not pass in the House. It was to make child blockers, transitioning,
Puberty
anything.
Blockers.
Huh?
Puberty blockers.
Puberty blockers, whatever. You're making a child an adult at certain points and making adult decisions when they're still a child. But anyways, they were trying to pass it in the whole Congress, and it only passed one House. It only passed the Senate, not the House. So, therefore, it died. Well, Ken Paxton has put an opinion out because he had him look into it, and he kind of goes around the law. I'll admit, he goes around the law.
Ken Paxton has a tendency of doing that.
Well, both of them did it because Abbott still has to enforce it.
Yeah.
We already have child abuse on the books as wrong. It's a crime. Easy. Done. Child abuse. You hit a child across the face. It's pretty easy. It was like, oh, yeah, it's abuse. You can't do that. Yeah. Or anything like those lines. I'm not going to get the horrific things that of all these child abuse. But this one is considered child abuse. Therefore, because it's child abuse, now we can do something about it. So it's basically when you put it in that sector, you made it something that you can criminalize.
So but that's got to require another piece of legislation, right? That's got to.
We'll see.
To add things to set definitions, because I'm thinking about, what was it? This is the Jordan Peterson bill, Bill C-16, right? Bill C-16 was a Canadian. Now this is Canada, obviously, but it was a
real country.
It was what they were doing was they were going to add certain definitions to an already existing law, right? They were going to say this now falls under the purview of this law. That's basically what we're doing here. Do we not need a separate bill to do that?
Honestly, this is a...
I mean, you're the law guy, not me.
No, this is the area of we've never flown here zone.
Yeah.
I am not sure. I know that 5 DAs are refusing to enforce it. Of course, Travis.
Yeah.
Bexar. Dallas
County. Not, gosh, what is it? Who are we missing? Harris. Not Harris County? Is Harris County on there?
I don't know. I'll look this up.
I will eat my hat, and I don't have a hat to eat if Harris County is not on there. I'm almost positive. They've got to be on there. Anyway, I go back to talking about things like this is truth, right? Speaking truth. They say, well, so what you're doing is you're codifying into law that transitioning children or giving health care to trans kids is child abuse. What?
It's not healthcare.
Yeah. You know what it is?
What?
Child abuse.
Oh,
it's child abuse. Okay. I know when we talk about things, especially when you're putting stuff on the internet, people will encourage you to dance around topics like this. Transitioning a child is child abuse. 150%. It's child abuse, right? Well, what if they're trans? Okay, well, when they're trans, they can be trans as an adult, right? If the premise is they don't stop being trans, then let them grow up and be trans as an adult, right? But puberty blockers are damaging. They're chemical castration, right? They're damaging to a child's body. They're damaging to a child's psyche. They cause irreversible damage, right? This notion that you can just simply stop puberty blockers and then they'll go through normal puberty is not true, right? Especially not when it's that they're doing it until they're 18, right?
Yeah. I had to look this up because the internet for some reason is not going so well. So give me a second. The DAs, you want Harris County to be on there.
It's got to be. No, I don't want Harris County to be on there. I'm just saying there's no way they're not on there.
Let's see. I don't know what the heck's going on here. You can keep going. Yeah, see.
I mean, it's absolutely child abuse.
Harris County. There it is.
There it is. Yep.
There it is.
There we are.
There it is.
I mean,
shocker. Let's see. Hold on. I have the whole list here. Dallas, Travis, Bexar, Nueces, Fort Bend, and I guess the new one also just now included Harris.
Exactly. You know who has two thumbs and isn't shocked? This guy.
Oh, yeah?
Are you calling it Bexar just because you're not giving it the respect of calling it Bexar County?
Yes. That's exactly why I'm calling it.
Now, here's the question. Is it considered respect because that's the correct pronunciation
That's how
of county?
English works, yeah.
Or are you considering it respect because Bear reminds you of Bear Bryant?
See, my father-in-law tries to get me on the whole Bear Bryant thing. He cheated out. He did this. I wasn't alive during Bear Bryant, and the current guy has more rings than Bear Bryant, so I'll take it.
Yeah, the current guy is also the devil, but
can't beat him.
That being said, don't care.
Don't count this year.
Don't care. This is a Texas podcast. We don't talk about states that shouldn't exist. That being said, it's absolutely. I mean, let's say okay, there is such a thing as child abuse by neglect, right? I have a child, you have a child. If our child starts growing up and starts raiding our liquor cabinet and getting blitzed every single night, and we go, it's fine, it's what he wants to do. That's child abuse.
Nick.
What?
I'm up for a vote for deacon. I don't have liquor. What are you talking about? I don't have any of that.
Okay, well, if they come over and raid my liquor, I don't know. The fact is that if you...
I don't know if it works out for you either.
Probably don't work out for me either. If you have that situation...
I know what you're saying, though,
right?
Yes. Yeah, I get the hypothetical, yes.
If you have that situation, this is we would no doubt consider that child abuse.
Yeah, if you allowed it, yeah.
Now because we have a
here, kid, you're 10 years old now. Smoke up. Are you kidding me? Yeah. No. Mm-hmm. I'm with you on 18. There's a limit.
It's just not.
Well, speaking of, there's a limit.
We're willingly putting blinders on. That's the
point. No, you're pretending to be so caring, so whatever, and you're literally letting children dictate. And here's the thing: these children didn't have they're so freaking rare. Have a child who thought this up themselves, typically from peer pressure, because shockingly, the whole new generation, what is it, Z? Well, they've actually done stats about this. It's over 30 to 40% of them considering themselves a part of the LGBT alphabet soup.
Yeah, it went from so
it's back 2% for 65 and plus.
Well, it was 2%. Less than 10 years ago.
Yeah, no, it's all made up. And a lot of it's just peer stuff. It's just peers.
What, 20, 23, 27%?
Yeah, and they don't know what they're saying. They really don't.
Back in our parents' generation, it was 0.3%. 0.8%.
Yeah.
Right? So it jumped from 0.8%. Well, they were always there. They were just suppressed. No, they weren't.
No, they weren't.
No, they weren't.
No, they
I'm
weren't.
sorry.
These people existed also in the biblical times. You can find it. It's not that hard. It's just also kind of seen as down because, these people are practicing wicked things. Don't worry, I'll take care of them. Read Leviticus. You'll see it.
Very, very true.
It gets pretty bad. But anyways, the thing is, these children have these thoughts put in their head, typically by parents. That don't get me. No, the children do not come up with this by themselves. It's their parents putting them in. As we saw that case in Texas a couple years ago, where there's twin boys, and the mother decided one of the boys is actually a girl and made him dress up as a girl. It's a case you can easily find. And the father had to fight in court. And right now, it's still not totally declared that he can actually stop it. It just has to get approved by the father, so he can stop it for now.
Younger was their name.
Younger?
Yeah. Younger.
It was a horrible case. But
the dad is actually running for some office in Texas in this county. I don't know exactly.
I could probably find that.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's total child abuse. And the other thing is, these kids need love. Mm-hmm. And the love is to tell them the truth. Because as a Christian, you can't just cast out to the you're a goat, get out. Mm-hmm. You need to be told the truth. Yeah. If you're, for instance, it's a whole different kind of scenario, but hey, if you're not good enough for the sport, maybe you should stop playing the sport. Mm-hmm. But I really love it. Well, you're not good enough for the team. And it's the tough truth is, so sometimes to hear that, maybe you train, do better, whatever. Or for this situation, it's, hey, why do you feel this way? What makes you think you're something different than what God gave you? Yeah. What is in your head? And we can work through that, but to just affirm it and then to possibly block their puberty and change their entire life before the age of consent. Don't forget, in Texas, in some cases, 16. Most time it's 17, 18, obviously, for federal. You cannot do anything prior to that time. Yeah. But yet you're somehow allowed, they're making the decision. Are they? They are not making the decision. It's bullcrap, and you're allowing these parents to just put these kids in horrible situations, and then their mind is so warped because they believe it's true because they've told their parents, this is what I am, and they're yes.
chemically changed their body, which chemically changes their brain development.
And just wait. Whenever they're going to the light, why do you think most of these people, they're saying once this happens, suicide rates go down? No, they don't. There's no study to back that up. There's absolutely no study to back that up in any way whatsoever. The only one that is out, I forget the name of it, I think it shows a 2% difference, but after 10 years, that 2% basically goes back to zero because even after transition, now they kind of regret going transition. That's the only one that's gone over 20 years with these people and actually had a long-term study for them. And I really wish I could cite it because it really makes me angry. But
it was Johns Hopkins? No, it wasn't Johns Hopkins.
I don't want to say it because I don't want to get it wrong. Maybe I could find it, hopefully put it there in the comments. Anyways, you're letting them change their bodies and destroy it.
Yeah. And by the way, that suicide rate we're talking about is 40%.
Yeah.
40% of people in this particular demographic.
You need to tell them the truth. Mm-hmm. Hey, you're not this, but let's figure out why you think you are. Let's work together. I'm not going to cast you into the fire. I'm going to talk to you because that's what Christians do.
And the fact is, by providing this fake solution, right? And make no mistake,
it's fake.
For most cases, it is a fake solution.
No.
Right? Are there some people out there that can continue living their lives happily if they make a full transition? I mean, they exist. I'm not going to say they don't exist.
Yeah.
But this is
even one of the year didn't change his whole body.
Right? In most cases, even when you have a legitimate case of gender dysphoria, this is not the correct solution. The correct solution is to be able to actually process through this and figure out what's going on and deal with the root issue. But sort of slapping a Band-Aid of transition on it is usually not a solution. And when you focus solely on that and you say that it's not acceptable to do anything but that, you're ignoring actual solutions for people who are, in some cases, are actually suffering.
Yeah, this crap did not exist 10 years ago. No. Everybody thinks you're being a bigot, you're just hating. This whole argument did not really exist 10 years ago. No. But yet here we are.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say it right here. And I mean, I know, again, we're on the internet, right? Well, we can't say something. I feel 100% confident saying if you're a parent right now and you have a child that's 4, 5, 6 years old and they're telling you they're a girl and you're transitioning them with puberty blockers, you're a child abuser. You are abusing your child.
You're a child abuser, right? And the state should step in and do something. And I don't like the state doing that because the state should not be able to tell me how I should raise my kids. At that point, you have quit raising them and you're making them a mini activist.
Yep. Yep.
And it's no.
You're no longer
You're
raising
doing
your
it
child,
for
though.
you. You're living through your child. And that's not fair to that child because they don't know any better.
Yeah.
You're abusing their trust by putting this in their head, and that's why it makes me so mad.
And you're abusing their bodies. I mean, if
Yeah.
you want to take it out of the psychological realm, you're abusing their bodies, right? But the reality is that this is where this has become such an issue. It's just it has to be brought up on every single side, right? The fact that we have to talk about this is a tragedy. Joe Biden talked about it in the State of the Union last week. He had to insert, right, this whole issue of LGBT of LGBT stuff, right? And I don't even. The speech was so boring. I don't even remember where he said it.
The speech was
but I know
all
it was
just a lie.
there.
America's great if we pass this bill. So it's not. So the converse is so it's not. Is what you're saying. We're doing crappy because we are. We all can't see the bills.
The funny thing was, I watched that speech, and I watched it twice, right? Because I'm a glutton for punishment. I watched it twice. This speech was basically this old guy walks up to the podium and goes, "Man, things are really bad. Someone should do something about this."
Yeah. Well, like my favorite thing was Pelosi, that little and then she stood up, and then nothing happened. She just kind of stood down. Like, what was that? My wife even goes, "What the heck was that?"
What is she look like?
She's not a huge political person. She's kind of playing on her phone. She goes, "Wait, what the heck was that?" I do not know.
She looked like she had
She's missing the maracas.
Chargers. Yeah.
She's missing the maracas. She was just shaking them.
She was like rubbing. It looks. I remind me.
She was getting ready to shock Biden.
She goes clear.
He's losing it. He just said Iranian instead of Ukrainian. He's kind of mixing up words now, giving it a little boost.
That woman is just like, you talk about a creepy looking person.
Yeah.
The express, even watch the expressions she was making.
She's over 80, dude.
And the mannerisms that she had, especially when she goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States," and then she claps, and I'm not kidding you, she claps like this. Like she's demonstrating to everyone that they should clap at this particular point, which
I bet they had applause signs.
The other thing,
applause. Applause.
They have it in the speech, right? And I'm pretty sure most of them have copies of the speech that say applause here, applause here, applause here.
No, the transcript, when I typically see it, it's actually looked at Trump's. It actually had it transcribed by the New York Times, and it mentioned applause. Okay. It did not say, "Here's to applause." It said, because it actually broke it up. He was saying something, it was applause, and it was like half the statement, and then the rest of the statement. So it's kind of like an actual stenographer to court.
Yeah.
Just like taking it down, other noises, back to what they were saying.
The other thing is, I'm pretty sure that was a room. I know Mitch McConnell was there.
Yeah, just dead stare.
Other than a few attendees.
Cruz was there.
Cruz was there.
Cruising
and I know
around.
there was some lady who yelled at him
Obert.
About leaving the 13 people in Afghanistan, which, by the way, kudos.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that other than those people, it was a room full of Democrats. I mean,
because they forced a test, and they were like, "I'm not going to asymptomatically test. It's stupid." Because you just said masks were fine, which that's interesting. Even CNN, when they were trying to explain the little fact checks about his little crap, they even said, it showed about 99%. The map showed from CDC showed about 99% of places where it's like, you probably should wear a mask on a Thursday. On Friday, they're up to 28%. Guess what? The speech was on a Tuesday. It's almost like experts are kind of influenced by politicians.
Yeah. Or perhaps maybe even coordinating with politicians.
Okay, we'll have to get back to this transgender thing. Because it's like we talked about it. Is it completely legal? I'm not sure. This is something we have never done before. This is different. You have people who are begging the governor, "Please don't do this." It's like, okay, no, stop. I'm not gonna not protect children, and we've already protected them by letting them stay in the womb. Now it's time. After you got all woke, well, we're gonna tamp that down too. And if you don't want to be here for that, there's 49 other states. Go. I even saw an article where we left to California to flee. Oh no, so sad. Have fun with your income tax because we don't have that here.
Yeah, they fled to California. Somebody had to publish.
It's almost like you're poor now, huh?
Somebody had to publish that because there's been so many articles that are going the other way about like, oh, we fled California to come to Texas. Yeah. We fled California to come to Texas. They're like, we need to find somebody that's going the other way so that we can make it appear balanced.
Yeah,
it's not, but they want to try and make it appear that way.
No, but again, I want to stress. My view, while it may seem bigoted to some outside, it's not. I want to show them love. I want to show what the truth is. The truth is God made you how you are, period.
Yeah.
And we can get to the other kind of acronym parts of the alphabet soup, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the T. You believing that you are something different than what's downstairs Completely false. Yeah. And the falsity has to have light shown on it. That's what Jesus says, shine the light of truth. Well, truth is you're a boy or girl. And that's okay. But you like sports, and I don't like a lot of girl stuff. What made you think you have to do all this girly stuff? Like this, you can be a girl and actually enjoy a lot of typical manly things. You can be an effeminate man and I'm not really outdoorsy. I'm not really this. I'm more on my computer. Doesn't make you less of a man.
That's very true.
At all. Yeah. So why is this fixation both ways? Because what's funny is the typical thought process is, well, I like a lot of things that girls like, therefore I'm a girl. So you're a girl. Yeah, because what gender and sex, it's just been a social construct about it. It's like, yet you just use the social construct of what you think a girl does in order to make your decision. So it doesn't really match up because no one's explaining this to you because your whole argument is circular. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
If gender is in fact a social construct, then you can just socially construct it the other way.
Right, and then also, why can I not be 20? Why can I not be 21 again? Why can also, that kind of would work well for pedophiles, wouldn't it? Yeah. Oh no, I mean I'm 16 just like she is. No, you're not. Well, you're 40 and you belong in prison. And in my opinion, probably should be hung.
You're seeing whatever. You're seeing that. You're seeing that in. I think it was in New York, right, where you had a child molester or somebody who was charged with sexual abuse. They lowered his sentence.
Yeah,
they lowered their sentence because they said I'm a girl.
Yeah,
right?
I'm a girl, and also I believe I'm actually this age. So this all came up after the dude was already indicted and in charged. And he just came up, and the judge was like, "Yeah, it's fine." Yeah. And the prosecutor goes, "Yeah, I'm cool with it."
There's certainly a lot of difficulty with where we go from here because.
But we have to start. We have to start enforcing. Like, you're not going to allow this new thought process that exists for 10 years and pretend like it should upend everything. And we have to affirm you by forcing me to give these made up pronouns. Yeah. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm not going to do that because I care about these people. Right, because I care about their well-being, and it's just not. People say, well, you're gonna force them to hate themselves. They already do, right? If you're a boy and you're saying no, I'm a girl and I don't want to be a boy, that is a form of self-hatred because you are a boy, you are a man, you are a woman, right? That is a part of your being, right? And to say, well, it's not who I am on the inside. We really need to stop disconnect. We really, in this mannerism, we need to stop disconnecting the quote inside from the outside. Right? There's no such thing as a spiritual man who's in a woman's body. Right? There's no such thing as a female spirit in a different body. Body and spirit are one entity. Right? The whole person. And if you are a man that says you're actually a woman, that is a form of self-loathing, and it's not healthy. Right?
No.
And that's the issue that we need to address.
Yeah.
And you can't do that by putting the Band-Aid of transition over it.
No. It's I'm sorry you got caught up in the whole thing, but if you ever notice, a lot of them, they finally do all the stuff, they're so like negative, and they have to they're like those screeching liberals, like, you gotta do blank. It's like, why are you so unhappy after you've said you're happier now? It seems like you're more unhappy now after you've done whatever.
So, I mean, Abbott's going to be the next gubernatorial candidate, right? He won the primary.
He did win the primary, despite me stealing a lot of votes from people and making sure it never went to the ballot box, what I totally did not do. Yep. But I did it.
I believe you. Yeah, I believe you 100%. Mostly because I don't want to run this show by myself because you're in jail.
Yeah. Alan West did come in second. It was. I'm looking at it right now. 66,
way closer. Way closer.
66.4% for Abbott, 12.3% for West. That's number 2, and then 12% for Don Huffines.
When I said close, I meant close between Huffines and West. Not close between West.
Shocker upon shockers, Beto won the Democrat because no one knew who any of the other candidates were.
Really?
91.3%.
No one voted for Joy Diaz?
Yeah, I'm looking at Michael Cooper. Never heard of you, bro. Rich Wakeland. Well, not rich enough, buddy. Now, Ken Paxton. That's where it gets interesting. He won the majority. However, Jeb's son, George P. Bush.
Old George P.
He got 22.8. Ken Paxton only got 42.7, like I said. So that's not 50%. In our primaries, you have to kind of get 50%, or there's a runoff. So, it says right here, it has projected a runoff. Because there will be a runoff.
Yeah.
Because all the votes are in. It says an estimated 99.9% of vote. All the votes are in.
Yeah.
All right. He's not gonna make up that whole percentage.
You ain't making up 8%.
No way. Let's see. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick just killed it.
So we don't vote on a ticket. That's a weird thing. Is like do we not vote on a ticket in Texas, or do we have separate votes for who do you want for the vice president, who do you want for the governor, who do you want for the governor? That's weird. Yeah, like right now, well, not right now because Michelle Beckley. Well, they have to do a runoff because with Beckley and Collier, no one got 50%, so they'll have to. And a Democratic side will also do a runoff. I hope they put it on the same ticket. It's be fun. She could actually win. For instance, somehow she wins. Beckley. Abbott wins. Well, he has a Democratic lieutenant governor. Yep. That's totally allowed. That's kind of how I wish we did for American again. You vote for a vice president and a president. I kind of want that to happen. Yeah. I kind of want Michelle Beckley to win because I want to see Greg Abbott be like, "You shut your mouth. Yeah. What is wrong with you?" Yeah. Dawn Buckingham for land commissioner. I've been following her quite a bit. She's interesting, but it's also going to be a runoff between her and Tim Wesley. So we'll remind you when the runoff is happening, but please go vote. I know someone very close to me who admitted to me that they did not vote on voting day. And I looked at this person, and I just said, I am so disappointed in you, and walked away. Yep. Because that's about as nice as things I could say to that person. Comptroller, everybody, of course, knows what they do. Yep. Accountant. Glenn Hagar, he killed it. I'm looking at railroad commissioner, which is basically oil and gas. Everybody calls it railroad for some reason still, but it's oil and gas. Yeah. It's going to be a runoff from the Republicans, and there's only one person for the Democrats, so that person, Luke Wofford, wins. Yep. And the rest of it's state board of education stuff, which, of course, everybody pays attention to. You should if it's your area, for sure. But a lot of mine really didn't happen. And for me, again, the Supreme Court justices, they're also going to be in a vote. So those are going to be in November. We have a chance to vote for our Supreme Court justices. You might want to learn who they are and pick one that actually aligns with you. Yeah. And by the way, the Texas Supreme Court justice could potentially be a launching pad to the United States Supreme Court. Maybe, but not. I mean, they're probably going to stay in Texas. Well, because it's elected. True. Yeah, right? I did. I do work for lawyers. Don't you know? But I talked to one of my bosses. And I asked him, I was like, well, I've always kind of like not really liked the whole I vote for him because it could just be like who greased the best palms gets to be on the court and everything else. I said, but I really don't know a way to do it because if you have it appointed by the governor, it's like, well, if governor's blue or red, guess what? It's going to be blue or red. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, here's an issue. Here's the way you can do it. Keep the voting. Keep it as it is. Except for the only change is if you ever supported or your firm has supported or paid contribution to any judge, your firm and lawyer cannot be in front of that judge. That would stop it real quick about how much funding some of these bigger firms do, and it's shockingly how some of these motions for summary judgments and everything else just get passed along. Like, oh yeah, confirm. On what? That'd be one heck of a spreadsheet, though, is determining whether or not you can be in front of this particular judge because of donations and things like that. I think it's pretty simple. Yeah, that'd be a heck of a database we'd have to keep up with. I mean, that's what government works for, right? Yeah. Yeah. Government's just a bunch of paper-pushing spreadsheet people. I'm just telling you. It really is. We're all run by nerds. Yeah. State of the Union, we kind of mentioned it a little bit. What were you going to say? Was it interrupt you? We're all run by nerds. That's what I was going to say. By nerds? Yeah. Yeah. Except for we're all run by nerds who are led by a guy who pooped his pants on the allegedly at the podium last night. Allegedly. No, I mean he did say Iranian at one point. He said the Iranian people. And then if you zoomed in on Kamala Harris, because people did this, because Twitter had a fun day. She was like, Ukrainian. She was like, what the heck are you doing right now? And she had the look of like a mom, just like, I'm listening. I support you. I just don't like what you're saying. So many gaffes. And so many by the way, when he wasn't gaffing, he was outright lying. Yeah. Right? Where he says we're releasing 30 million barrels of reserve oil. How about you drill, baby, drill? Yeah. How about 30 million? That's it? You know, that long. Not even the whole snap for America. Yeah. Here's the other thing. He's what did he say? He came up with some ungodly amount of jobs. Oh, right? 6.5 million jobs. 6.5 million jobs. More? What? Yeah. No. The most ever in history. Well, you can't prove that. Because of the American Rescue Plan?
Yeah.
But if anything, the American Rescue Plan delayed those jobs coming back.
But you also can't prove that because we didn't start calculating until 1939. That's when the CNN article I found said explicitly. Even though they said it's true, it's like, but here's the other facts. Like, so it's not really true.
But it isn't true.
Also, we lost 22 million jobs.
Yeah.
And you didn't create them. They're just coming back.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, this door's closed.
All
right, we're open again. All right, three jobs. No. We had the jobs. So we closed down because you made us close down in certain blue states because that's where it happened. Texas was open.
Yeah.
Unless you're in Austin. Texas was open.
You
closed them for the rest of the people.
And that's what I was saying is the whole speech was him saying, "Wow, man, things are really bad right now."
Yeah.
And I'm going, and he's like, "But if you vote for me, the person who's been in office for the past year, things will get better." Well, okay. At a certain point, it's not Trump's fault anymore, right? And that's
it's always Trump's fault.
Yeah, that certain point was when you came into office, right? I mean, yes, there's certain things that carry over from one administration to the other, but you've been in office for a year, man.
Yeah.
And by the way, in that year, we've seen massive amounts of inflation, right? We've seen our credibility crumble on the world stage, as evidenced by Putin moving into Ukraine,
which we knew about in November, but we didn't do anything about it.
We've seen absolutely skyrocketing gas prices. We've seen supply chain issues.
That's due to COVID, not due to Pete Buttigieg.
Well, that's the thing is that's what he says. He says
doing his job.
Biden is sitting here saying all these things are bad, and he just uses COVID as this sort of convenient off-putting of that. It wasn't COVID. It was your crappy policy.
It's the Republican 2002 version of 9/11.
Yeah,
America. I like this guy. Oh, he just said 9/11. He didn't say anything. But he really cares, so I'm voting for him.
Joe Biden doesn't...
Don't get me wrong. Republicans are just as stupid in certain areas. And that was one of the biggest ones. Like, if they just said 9/11, it's like, oh, this guy knows what it's about. He cares. American flag.
He's like, and Biden's sitting here, it's like, well, we weren't able to meet, and now we are. And I go, yeah, but what did you do? We were meeting. We already were meeting.
You wore a mask the day prior in an open field by yourself. And then you went into the State of the Union, and magically it was gone. It just so happens that the doctor of the Congress said 2 days prior, "Hey, masks are optional now because it's safe now." Oh, just curiously before the actual State of the Union, so that way you can't get a lot of camera feed that shows everybody who's a Democrat in a mask. Yeah, it's super weird. I think their polling's doing great. Right? Oh no, America's kind of pissed off at Democrats, so they're probably going to lose the midterms. That has nothing to do with it. Yeah, obviously,
it's all a complete coincidence, right?
Yeah, no.
My favorite part of the speech. So, first of all, what was your favorite part of the speech? Favorite part of the speech? Go.
When he said Iranian.
When he said, he's like, well, you can't.
Because that was another one. My wife looked up and goes, "Did he just say?" I was like, "Yeah, he just said Iranian. He did not say Ukrainian."
My favorite thing was,
I'm sorry, I have two. Pelosi, like.
Oh yeah, and he was talking about at the time when she did that. He was talking about burn pits.
Yeah,
right?
burn pits, the fumes, kind of hurting people after they get back from war, and it's
he's talking about something really tragic. And she's like, "We need to clap. We need to clap." I'm like, "Don't clap for burn pits, Pelosi." Favorite part of the speech for me was the very end. Was the old man yells at clouds, because I don't know if you guys watched the speech, but he's like, "Come on."
Oh, he starts getting a little like fire and brimstone pastor.
And I'm really angry now. I can't explain why. I haven't been angry this whole speech, but right now I'm really
My drugs are wearing off. That's the only way I can do this speech right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say what happened was it's the adrenaline that they put into his chest before they walked up there to get him up there.
They Pulp Fictioned him.
That started going down, and he's just like, I gotta. We're gonna land this plane, Joe. Yeah. We gotta make this happen.
No, like. It's ridiculous. But one thing I am kind of worried about, we're apparently going to do air restrictions or a no-fly zone for Russia, which is like, if we do that, that means our airplanes are involved in the war, which kind of brings us into the war, which is like, I'm not really wanting to get into this war.
Here's
because that's a possibility of a dub 3 situation. I'd rather not be in that. But I get we have to support in some fashion. Maybe stop leading from behind and actually do more.
The Joint Chiefs were in the room.
Yeah.
When he said we're gonna have when he talked about the possibility of a no-fly zone over Ukraine, right? The Joint Chiefs were in the room, and I think it's very strategic that they didn't put the cameras on him because they were all back there going, no. No, that's a bad idea. You do not want to get in a hot war with Russia right now. But I don't think that's going to happen, right? But it's worth noting that the United States president, Joe Biden, is the commander-in-chief of the army right now.
Yeah.
Which means if Joe Biden says do something, the army does it.
They just raised the price of pudding.
The
Go tear them a new one. Get me my 37-cent, not 39-cent pudding cup. That's BS.
Daddy
Nuke them.
needs
No,
Daddy
sir,
needs his
sir,
tapioca.
don't nuke. It's Jill Biden going, come on, Joe, let's go. Come on.
But here's the thing. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't because I think
We'll see.
I think there's enough people that are. I think Joe Biden's handlers won't allow that to happen. That's
Fair,
what I'm
because
saying.
he's not running the show. That's fair.
But there's this talk about Vladimir Putin, that Vladimir Putin is doing all this stuff because he might be reaching the end of his life and he wants to leave a legacy, right? He wants to leave
I've
a legacy.
seen that,
right?
yeah.
And there's all this conspiracy. And here's the thing: I don't believe that about Vladimir Putin. You know who I might believe that about?
Who?
Joe Biden.
Yeah.
I really think that Joe Biden might say, I want to go out being remembered in one way or another, so let's get into a hot war with Russia, right? I could be the next FDR is kind of what might be in his mind.
FDR is not looked at very well, except for that whole war thing. That was about it. All his policies sucked.
Well, they did. Okay.
Kept the depression going for 8 more years because of his policies.
Stop though, because here's the thing. FDR is looked at with rose-colored glasses.
Yeah,
right.
No one wants to read.
In modern American culture, and that's what Joe Biden wants to do.
He was elected 4 times. Yeah, he's a tyrant. I know.
And so Joe Biden's saying, if I can get into a hot war with Russia and I can push this whole situation with Ukraine, then I'll be remembered as the president that stood up to Putin.
Yeah.
Please, Joe Biden, do not do that, because it'll be Texas blood that's spilled over Ukraine if you do that.
Yeah, because majority of the military is Texas.
It's Texas.
Also, they're spinning again. No more defund the police. The woke were pissed about that one.
What was that?
Yeah.
I'm like...
I saw like the Republican, I think the GOP congressman or congressional whatever, like their Twitter account, they released like a 7-minute video of like, hey, all leading Dems, remember when you said this, over and
like
over
a day ago? I mean, tell you,
but Biden's saying it was funny. I was like, how about that woke?
Orwellian's an overused term that is straight out of Orwell's
Yeah, we didn't
playbook.
say it.
That is straight out of the playbook. It's like he literally switched it in real time. Oh my god!
Yeah. But finally, because a lot of crime's going around.
Yeah.
Have you seen Austin? It's not going well.
Yep. You gotta fund those.
Apparently, we're gonna fix the immigration system now.
Who broke the immigration system, Joe?
Yeah. Who put the cages, Joe?
Who built the cages, Joe?
Yeah.
Goodness, right?
Trump should just stop. Again, just stop the one. Ask him and let him sit there.
We're going to have maternal health care, right?
No.
Which is odd. Somebody mentioned this. When you say maternal health care, you're saying that woman is already a mother.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You're kind of admitting the point.
It's one of those things that's kind of semantics, but for me, it's like if you're pregnant, to me, you're kind of a mother.
You are,
but if you're gonna get rid of it,
you're
you're kind of not a mother anymore. So if you're in that,
no, hold on, you're just the mother of a dead kid.
That you killed.
I mean, and that's the thing, right? But when Joe Biden says it's maternal health care, how is it maternal health care if it's not a baby?
Yeah,
if it's not a baby,
yeah, that's good semantic.
Yeah,
there.
if it's not a baby, then you're not a mom. So why are we calling this maternal health care, Joe? Right? And I think some people noticed that, and it was a bit of a gaffe.
Saki will spin for them. They always do.
Remember, to quote Kamala Harris, right? You ordered what you want, and you're getting what you asked for.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be using GOP line after line. And she went off course, and people are kind of like looking sideways, going, "Yeah." And she even had the face of, "I just realized what I said, and I realized how it's gonna be used against me for the rest of the year."
And then he had what were the 4? That was so weird.
What, unity agendas?
The 4 agendas, and they were so
beat opioid epidemic. Okay, close the border.
Yeah.
Take on mental health. And then it starts talking about different sexes and how people who are transgender are not getting the right mental health. Like, well,
that was where he brought up the LGBT.
Support our veterans. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. But again, that means you're gonna blow more money that just piss it away because that's what you've been doing. Mm-hmm. And the last one, end cancer. Well, if you're gonna end cancer, how you ended COVID, don't touch cancer. Yeah. Don't get near it. You're gonna make it how much worse. There's no such thing as an Omicron cancer version. No, cancer's bad. Just don't touch it. Because you sucked at it before, and if you stayed out of the way, it would have solved itself, but you couldn't. You just couldn't let it go. You had to touch it.
And that kind of thing is why I think that that's what scares me about Joe Biden and Russia, right?
Yeah.
Is that this sort of cancer moonshot. Joe Biden's trying to find the one thing that he's going to be known for as a president. Maybe it's that he cured cancer.
Reduce cancer deaths by 50% in 25. You won't be here in 25 years, bro. Shut up. Shut up.
You won't be here. And by the way, you know who will still be here? Cancer. Cancer will still be here.
Sadly.
Now, here's the thing. We've already seen a decline in cancer deaths since forever, right? The increase
due to the big pharma
technology,
places that he just trashed in the beginning of his speech.
The medical industry is going to grow in technology. We're going to find ways to deal with cancer, but it's making it some sort of political objective to deal with cancer. Which, by the way, you want to cure cancer, fine, but what does that have to do with anything that's going on right now? Right?
It's anything to spin away from his just runaway train.
Yeah, all four of these objectives are just shiny objects that he's holding off on this, and I'm going.
We will. But you haven't done. That's the biggest thing. You haven't done jack.
None of this has to do with Ukraine. None of this has to do with inflation. None of this has to do with the economy. None of this has to do
It's all about future events. If you pass my magic bill, it'll be solved. Really? Really?
No, it won't. And those are so... That was the weirdest part of the speech for me. Because I'm like, what does this have to do with anything, Joe?
Yeah.
Anyway. Which is what I was saying for most of the speech, granted, but...
Yeah, you saw my notes. I can't read them on here, but you saw my notes.
Oh, we get kicked off of Twitter. We read those notes.
Kicked out of Twitter, kicked out of our church, whatever.
State of the Union
is strong. Tell that to my grocery and gas bill.
I was going to say the State of the Union is strong. The State of the Union economy is right?
Yeah. My belief on what it should be is strong. Okay, I don't know what's going on in that head.
I love what he said. So at the end, he said, the State of the Union is strong because the American people are strong. Because it certainly doesn't have anything to do with what you right. It's not the State of the Union is strong because we've made good decisions. State of the Union is strong because the American people are strong. And we'll be stronger next year. So he literally left the speech with, I'll do better next time.
I'm going to kick that can down the road, and we'll figure that out.
Oh, Joe.
We'll learn on the job. Joe. Okay.
I would kill for a mean tweet right now, guys.
Yeah, well.
I hope it was worth it.
Russia, don't worry. Putin can be on Twitter. It's not Trump.
Seriously, all these guys have said it's worth anything to get rid of Donald Trump. Right now, we have $3.50 gas in the state of Texas.
You got what you paid for.
Yeah, we have massive inflation. We have supply chain shortages. We have Russia invading Ukraine on the world stage because we're a joke. You got what you paid for, and you got it good and hard. Here in Texas, though, we're going to keep fighting. Because here in Texas, we are the stars at night.
And we are big and bright.
See you next week.